Hi guys, my name is Natalie. Welcome to my video. In today's episode, we're definitely gonna talk about this previous support turning into a resistance and just slam to the downside. But what we're gonna talk about, the most important thing right now is to use the lower time frames and see where we actually can see the market coming and react to certain areas, because that's what we need. Because when we do have this huge candlestick to the downside, it's so hard for us to read what the market is actually doing. So that's why I'm breaking everything down onto the lower time frames and where our potential targets can be. And remember, I'm no financial advisor, so you need to look everything up yourself first. But please continue watching this video. I'm gonna show you exactly what I see on Bitcoin right now. See what happened to Bitcoin during the day. I do have this resistance and support on the daily, and looking down to the 4-hour, we can see more clearly how the market actually been moving. We did break to the downside. Obviously, we came back up and we retested it. The previous support right now just turned it into a new resistance, and the market just continued down. Taking the Fibonacci levels that I did have before, I took it from the high to the low, and the high was 48387 and the low was 40643. And I did talk about that, combining the Fibonacci levels with the support right here, I could definitely see the market coming up and going to the downside. And that was actually what we did. It just came into the Fibonacci level and the support, retested it perfectly, and then just went straight down. If we want to combine the lower time frames and the higher time frames, just to make sure that we could see what actually did happen, because as we can see here, we just had huge candlesticks, but if we're breaking it down, we can actually see what happened. And the market came up, we just consolidated the whole time. We came back down again and came up again and retested the same area. Obviously here the market just spiked to the downside, and I know that it was some news that came out, but this was also the market structure. I mean, you could see that we did come to the ups, we did come back up and retested the previous support, turning into resistance, and we were around the Fibonacci level. So even if news is coming out, we're still following market structure. So even if you're not looking at news, that's okay, because this was I didn't look at the news at all. So right now, what we are waiting for, what potentially could happen right now, well, we do have this huge candlestick right now to the downside. So I know a lot of people are looking for buy opportunities, and that's good, yeah, but for myself, I need to have a solid support or resistance, and I want to see how the huge candlesticks are, how it's forming. Obviously right now we do have a new support right here. We do have the new support right here, and right now we are in between. So you can see that right here we did consolidate for a time, and right now we are in a new range. Okay, so the market right now is just going sideways, even though we did have this huge candlestick to the downside. So obviously right now I want to see if the market's gonna break this, come back up and retest it, and then continues to the downside, or if it's actually gonna respect this support that we do have here and continuing to the upside. But that's something we need to take step by step with that. Copy and paste this support to the lower time frames, just so we have something to look at. I want to find new support and resistance zones on the lower time frames to see if the market actually is retesting it. So you can see that we did have the market coming up and retest this previous resistance. And but right now, what I would want the market to do, because right now it's really hard to trade inside when the market is just in between a support and resistance, because obviously we want the market to come up either to the resistance, or it might break the resistance and turning it into a new support and continue to the upside, or we will see that the market is coming down to the previous support that we did have and just bounce off of it and continue to the upside. Or if the market actually will break to the downside, come back up and retest it as a resistance, and then continue to this downside. So that's why it's really important to just wait right now to see what the market is actually what it wants to do. But always have in mind that when you do have a huge candlestick like this, the market usually never just spike to the upside again. So this is where you have to be very careful. We can also take the Fibonacci on the higher time frames using the 4-hour on my left side. I'm taking my Fibonacci from 44845 to the low, and that is 41581. What we potentially can see is that the market actually can come back up to the Fibonacci level, that you can see what's happening on the lower time frames. If the market comes back up here and retest the Fibonacci levels to the downside, we could potentially continuing down. And if we are using the lower time frames to see where that exactly is, we can see that we do have a support right here. So if we're combining these two with each other, because you could see what the market did right here. So the market came down, came back up, and the market retested this area. But why did it do that? If you didn't know, or if you didn't look back, you didn't know that we did have a previous resistance right here. So the market did come to this area, retested it, and then it did continue. So if the market comes back up and give us the retest as a new support at 42581, the market could come back up here and retest 43493 and then continuing to the downside. If the market is doing that, what the market is doing is that it's creating a new lower high. And looking at the higher time frames, we could see that the market did have the high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. Market came up and did a lower high. So right now, we just might continuing to the downside because we do have to break this previous lower low. Obviously, we can retest other areas on the lower time frames. Don't believe the market will just continue to the upside. I do believe we will come back down again. And if we're looking at where we potentially can come to on the higher time frames, obviously, we did come back down and retest this high right here, and that's 40591. And where we if the market will break this lower low that we do have, the next target will be for me around 38,000. So that's the area. If the market break this lower low, I could definitely see the market coming back down here. This is what I see on Bitcoin right now. So tomorrow we are continuing watching this market and we'll see what happens. So please like this video and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment below if there's something you want to ask me something. Otherwise, we just see each other tomorrow. Trade with risk management. Have a good day. Bye bye.